Welcome to Hope for Your Pelvic Floor, the podcast that transforms how you move, feel, and live. And I'm Claire Sparrow, Pilates teacher, educator, and best-selling author. I'm passionate about helping you to reclaim your pelvic health and your power. This is your space for optimism, possibility, and the practical steps you need to move from helpless to hopeful. Join me as we bust myths, share expert insights, and explore real solutions for a body that supports you for life. You're not meant to settle, you're meant to thrive. So let's get started. So today's episode is all about your workstation, your healthy working at a desk environment. And this topic comes up honestly on a weekly, if not daily basis. The idea of the reality. We all have to work at a desk at some point in the day. Even me, I'm here, I'm at my desk with all the crazy setup around me because we do. We have to, even if it's just doing your online banking or sending an email to a friend, you're on a computer in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's on your laptop and not at a desk, we are doing this type of activity. And what I'm really interested in is ways that you can take care of your pelvic health whilst or consider it during your desk-based activities or work, whatever that might look like. Because, I always say, and it sounds so trite and silly, but it's very true that wherever you go, your pelvic floor is with you. And I think often we pay attention to it when it's being noisy to us, when maybe we've got something going on, we're maybe having a flare up of incontinence or prolapse symptoms, or we've got some pelvic pain and we're like, oh yeah, must take care of that, focus on it. Or when we're actually doing a Pilates class or we're doing one of the pelvic health classes. And if you're listening, we are here on YouTube and we're on all the podcast platforms, and also on YouTube. I provide so many free classes, tutorials, resources on there for you so that you can be integrating your whole body pelvic health into your everyday life, whether you're part of my membership or read the book or not. There's free resources there for you, so please do that. And you can even do it in the palm from the palm of your hand, because I've got an app, and every time I say app it does make me laugh because it's not the Squeezy app, far from it, very different to the famous Squeezy app. You could just maybe switch up. Maybe take the Squeezy app off your home screen and put the Whole Body Pelvic Health app on there instead, because from there you can access this podcast, the YouTube channel for the free classes and resources. You can read my blog, and everything I do is to create an opportunity for learning, for education, so that whether you're listening to me here on the podcast or you're on the YouTube channel, you feel like you're learning what you need to take back control of your life, of your body. And so that's that. But yeah, that's just a side note so that you know that that is all available for you. But the point today is to look at whether you are purposely doing a Pilates class or a pelvic health class on the app, or wherever you are definitely with your pelvic floor and it's with you, and you're impacting it, whether it's consciously or not consciously. And this is very big. This really is massive. Wherever you go, your pelvic floor is with you. And whether you're conscious of it or not conscious of it, you're impacting it. It's with you. Therefore, what you do with it is affecting it. So just sitting down for long periods of time can really have a negative effect on your pelvic floor, we know in general, there was a while where, what was the phrase? There was a phrase around, oh yeah, sitting is the new smoking. There was this dramatic line. And, I get that. I think, yes, okay, we're making the point that sitting or any kind of static, immobile activity isn't great for your health. But for your pelvic health specifically, when you're sitting, most of the time in the chairs that we all have at our desks and whatnot, it's tucking your pelvis under. And we talk about in the whole body pelvic health method, tucky bottom or ducky bottom. And you can imagine, I mean, we all can imagine what a ducky bottom is, that tucking out, that tipping your bottom out, fanning out your tail feathers. And the tucky bottom is what commonly happens when we're sitting. So, what happens when you get into that tucky position, and why does that matter to your pelvic floor? Well, what happens is the muscles get short and tight, and the tissue, the connective tissue, gets quite immobile. So I think often we think of mobility in terms of our joints and feeling stiff. So our joints, maybe you need to roll your shoulders out or twist your spine and you mobilize the joints. It's actually more complicated than the bony bit. It's also the connective tissue, which is what the bones are suspended in. And if that doesn't have mobility, if it's not fluid and slidey and hydrated, then big issues occur. One of those big issues is that your brain and that area of your body lose the communication, or the communication becomes a little bit slower, delayed. And so your pelvic floor, for example, can't respond as quickly when you have a cough or a sneeze, because it's just a bit slow. It doesn't know that it's there, or it just gets the message a bit too delayed, and by the time it does, it's too late. This is the communication breakdown that can happen. So when you sit and you're in that tucky position, all of those muscles around the back, around your glutes, around the deep hip muscles, they're getting kind of pulled in, short, dry, and less hydrated, less mobile, less fluid, and less able to respond when your brain is in communication there. And then what happens is the front is a little bit more lengthened, a little bit more open, perhaps. Then the front of your hips. Lots of you will go, yeah, I've got really tight hip flexors and really tight hamstrings. And these things happen from being in that seated position. And when they are short and tight and not hydrated, they're not effective. But what they are then doing is they are being a little bit bullish. They become bullies to your pelvic floor and make it difficult for your pelvic floor to respond, even in good circumstance. So it becomes really important for us to stay mobile instead of just fixing ourselves in that seated position wherever we are. But then how on earth, I hear you, how on earth do we do that when we're working at an office or even in your home office at home? And there are lots of simple ways that you can just give a little bit of movement on a regular basis. My recommendation is that you either I call it cross train. You either cross train your sitting situation for your day at work or your afternoon at the computer or whatever it might be, or you set a timer that every hour or every 50 minutes is my suggestion, that every for 5 to 10 minutes of every hour you get up and do something, some kind of stretching, some kind of movement, walk around the house, the office, the building, the somewhere, walk up and down the stairs, go stand with your back against the wall and turn your head from side to side. any movement. And not to be afraid of moving. I think sometimes we think, oh, but I've got a pelvic floor condition, so I need to be careful what I do. Honestly, you know if you're doing something that aggravates it. If you know jumping and running and skipping aggravates your pelvic floor symptoms, of course you're not going to do that right now. But just to move your body about, children never think. They never care. They just, or animals, they just feel a need, an urge to move and move. And we've kind of lost that interoception, that ability to feel the need to move and stretch and wiggle. So anything, just move every hour. So 5 to 10 minutes every hour, do some kind of movement. Or that first suggestion of cross training. And this is personally what I do. I tried the stop and do the exercise bit. For me, it didn't work as well. And what I found that works well for me is to actually just cross train what I'm doing. So I have my whole body pelvic health ball. If you're on YouTube, I'm showing you on the screen. And I literally take this ball with me everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Planes, trains, and automobiles, my ball is with me. And what I do with the ball is I've not got it fully inflated, so it's a floppy ball. It's quite discreet. So if you were in the office, people probably wouldn't really see it. They're not going to really care, probably anyway. And I will sit on it. So I sit on it underneath my pelvis, and the minute there's an unstable surface underneath, you start to naturally move. So you wiggle and you move, little pelvic tilts and circles. When you sit on it, it's also stimulating, hydrating, which is what we talked about before, the all important fluidity and mobility of that pelvic floor tissue. So then the brain and the pelvic floor go, oh, hello, old friend. Hello there. I'm here. Let's start working together. We make a good team. And they know each other exists. And then it can help your pelvic floor to work. I also will put my ball on the floor and just do some ankle stretches, mobilizing my ankles, wiggling my feet, and just moving with the ball. And then one of the other things I really like to do with the ball, I'm lucky I've got myself a wide seat so I can sit with my legs crossed over like crisscross applesauce. So I can do that. And then I put the ball behind my back. You can also do that even with your feet flat on the floor, or if you need a little box. I have little legs, so I always need to have a little something on the floor so I'm not cutting off the circulation in my legs, and then I can have the ball right behind me. It sounds so basic and so simple, and the reality is just those tiny little things stimulate your pelvic floor into your awareness. It brings it into the forefront of your mind. It reminds you that wherever you are, your pelvic floor is with you. And all of those little things will help you on a daily basis. So I said cross train. That's kind of cross training, but it is only with the ball. One of the other things that I really like to do is to raise my screen up. And I don't have a fancy desk that goes up and down. I literally put a couple of shoe boxes underneath my screen. It is very Heath Robinson and it works. But what I do then is that I can then get up and stand as I am maybe on a Zoom. So often I'll be leading a Zoom, supporting students or teachers online, where I'm not practically doing Pilates or I'm not actually typing something. So I can stand and have a little bit more flexibility. So when I do that, I'm going to stand on whatever I've got around that I can stand on. I love my spine fitter, which is a tool created by an osteopath. It's a great massage for your feet, so I do that. But maybe you have a spiky ball or a golf ball or a tennis ball that you can massage your feet on while you're in conversation on Zoom. Anything that can get you just moving whilst you're standing is going to be really, really great for you, particularly things around your feet and ankles. So maybe just little knee bends or heel raises, where it's wakening up the really strong connection between your feet and your pelvic floor. We think so often about the pelvic floor in isolation, and my method is called whole body pelvic health for a reason. So, honestly, it really does require the whole body. It requires all elements to act together, come together, work together as a team. And your feet play a really important role in that. So, yeah, I raise my screen and I get standing. One of the other hilarious things that I did recently, and I'm obsessed, I absolutely love it, is I got myself a bean bag, a big giant bean bag, so that I can put, and all I do, this is again, I like to do things as easily, simply, accessibly as possible. So all I do is spin my chair around and put my laptop on the chair, and then so it's effectively a desk, and I sit on my beanbag. I love it because it's actually really supportive. So if you find sitting with your legs crossed a bit difficult, get yourself a big beanbag and you can sit cross-legged in the beanbag because it fills up and supports your knees, and it really allows you to sit upright on your pelvis. And then sometimes I might take a big yawning stretch and stretch back over it as well. But it gives more diversity to your seated position. It also encourages you to move about more. It encourages you to get down near the floor, which even for general health, not anything to do with pelvic health, but still to do with pelvic health as well. But getting up and down off the floor, we're losing that basic fundamental skill. And it is so important. And if you have a beanbag, it's almost like a halfway point, isn't it? So you can get yourself to the floor that way. Wow. So I thought this was going to be a really short episode, just very brief, telling you some suggestions around your desk setup and the importance of moving for your pelvic floor. And here we are. We've actually gone a bit deeper than I imagined. Those are the suggestions that I have. They are just a small suggestion, a small idea. I want it to be more of just a flag. I'm just flagging that there is potential for you to move and do more for your pelvic health when you are actually in your work desk setup, and to consider it, to flag it and start considering it. And I think there's more that we can do than we probably think, because we get kind of stuck in and we're stuck to the chair and we forget. So let's make it so that you can make this a bit of a priority. And I'm excited about this idea of the kind of movements that we can do in a chair, because later this year I've created a really fun class for the members of Whole Body Pelvic Health, which is designed for them to do while traveling. So it's a really kind of confined space in your chair. How many exercises can we do to stay healthy and mobile and support our pelvic floor while in those confined places like trains and planes and automobiles? So I'm looking forward to sharing that. In the meantime, it's been a joy again. I absolutely love sharing with you these thoughts and ideas every week. I visualize you, I imagine who I'm speaking to, and I take the questions that you share very seriously, because I want you to listen and feel like, oh, yeah, that is something I can do. And it not just be something you listen to passively, it goes over your head or it's in one ear out the other. I want you to really genuinely feel like these are tools you can take away and act on straight away. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for joining and subscribing to the podcast. I really appreciate it. And I do appreciate your reviews and your shares with your friends and family. It does mean the world to me, because the goal is to reach as many women as possible so that more of you can have hope for your pelvic floor. Thank you for listening, and I will see you all again next week. Bye, everyone.